The color. The color. Oh. Whoa. This is going to be my review for The Color Out of Space. I don't even know what I just saw. The Color Out of Space is possibly the most trippiest movie I have seen for the longest time. And I'm not even kidding. I'm so glad I've started sitting down on these reviews because I can't even stand just talking about this. That's not like in a sense that I don't like to talk about this, but I can't even stand up if I want to talk about this. It is really, it's it's out there. Okay, so anyways, to start my review off right, I am the Dapper Man, and this is going to be my review for the movie The Color Out of Space. It is based on a short story by H.P. Lovecraft. If you know of H.P. Lovecraft, I am personally a great fan of his works. I enjoy his short stories. They're just filled with such great fantasy and horror and a bit of sci-fi. It's just a great blend of storytelling. And he was, I guess, I don't think he was that appreciated at the time he was at, but he's very much appreciated today. And people more know of his the adaptations they make for TV shows and movies than they do of the actual short stories. One of them, case in point, was like the Reanimator. I despise that movie. I do not like it at all. I have my reasons why I don't like it. It has good cult like comical horror, but there is some things in there, scenes in there that just makes me just make me not ever want to watch that movie ever for the rest of my life ever again. So, and the story was fantastic, by the way, but the movie no. And that's a lot different from this movie because this movie that I just watched, The Color Out of Space, it's quite fantastic. It stars Nicolas Cage and it has a bunch of other actors whose names I can't remember right now because I've never really seen them in any other movie. But Nicolas Cage stands out. He is like the best thing that happened in this movie, and it was a best choice. I'm so glad they actually put him for this movie because I don't believe anybody else could do this movie the way Nicolas Cage has done it. Hands down. Now, this film is directed by Richard Stanley. For those who don't know who Richard Stanley is, he is most famously known for a director that started a movie project and got fired 3 days after of directing. They play a small tribute to that. Actually, a small tribute to Marlon Brando from The Island of Dr. Moreau back in '96, and they have a good, I want to say, a good callback for it. So be sure to look out for that. This movie was fun to watch. This movie made me laugh. This movie made me gasp. This movie made me cringe a couple of times because it is creepy. It is horrifying, and it's maniacal. It's a blend of fantasy and sci-fi and horror. It's just a great mix. It was the colors did not disappoint me. It was brilliant. It was bright. Of course, if you saw the theatrical trailer, you would notice it's a very colorful film. The sounds was just right. It had that creepy, eerie noise to it, and the type of noise that consistently repeats itself. And you can't help but when you listen to it as you're watching it, it's like a form of madness that's just driving right out of Nicolas Cage and the rest of his family into this colors and sound that they can't, and this horror that's happening that they can't even put into words exactly what is happening. If I was to put down what type of movie this is, imagine if David Cronenberg could have directed a creep show and have that type of comical horror sci-fi fantasy. That's what you would get out of this movie. This family moves away from the city. They move out into the country, move away, far away from everything, where they're literally an hour away from a store, a hospital, an hour away from the town, to the city, and living a farm life away from everyone. The only means they have is through satellite dish they have, and the phone service, which is seems to go off and on all the time, but that's like a horror movie trope with cell phones, which I knew that was coming, like no reception. But anyhow, a meteorite hits these bright colors of pink and purple and weird noises project out of the meteorite, and slowly in time it drives everyone crazy. They start seeing things, hearing things, and these colors just form right out, and it's making them think thoughts or puts them in a state of mind of like this zombie like. It's really hard to describe unless you watch it, because that's the type of movie this is. You have to watch it to actually appreciate it. This movie is cheesy. It's very fun. Like I said previously, it's very manic. It's something that you have to watch to actually experience. This movie is pretty much an experience, and I don't really say that too many about movies, but this is an experience of a horror, sci-fi, fantasy comedy. It just blends all of those genres all together in this film. Now, I would say that the only thing I did not care about this film is that the length time was a bit too long, and sometimes it seemed to drag. There is that pacing issue that could have resolved a lot. I believe he was trying to go for some symbolism. You can't really tell. I just go out and say it. Just say exactly what you're trying to get to, because it seemed like that's exactly what he was going for. The symbolism, it was a bit too much on the nose. That's like when you see a Christian film and everywhere you see and they look up, they see a cross up, and it's like, okay, we get it. And them consistently showing the triangle everywhere, deadpan, in the center, in that triangle format, and you're like, okay, I get it. And I believe he was trying to make it longer than it needed to be, because 20 minutes of this could have been easily shaved right off. But at the same time, I appreciate the director actually coming back for the longest time since '96, and he did direct one other small film, but nobody knows about it. And apparently, it was just bashed and was crap. So here's a second go around of trying to go back into films, and I think he did it with a modest budget of just $6 million. I think he really surpassed it. And I appreciate it. I like it. It is very interesting, and it is a strong R. Just have to put it down there, and the reason why it's rated R, I'm going to put it right now up here. Why is it rated R? It was great, and I am a fan of Lovecraft, so if you're a fan of Lovecraft, this will be it. It was just, yeah, it was crazy. The kids were a bit wooden. I would say that. The kids were a bit wooden. It was so much the teenager boy. The teenager boy I thought was possibly the worst actor in this movie. He was so wooden. It was like, wow, I don't even care about you. The girl, okay. The younger boy, I think he was probably the best actor. He didn't have much lines, but he was possibly the best. Besides the craziness of Nicolas Cage. That is my review. I hope you enjoyed watching me talk about the movie, and hopefully you get a chance to watch this movie too. When you do, let me know in the comments below, and hopefully I'll see you around to the next review. So until then, take care, have a lovely day. Cheers.